Intellect is silent. There is no squeaking. To be noticed, it doesn't need to be. True mental strength is imperceptible, icy, pinpoint accurate, and catastrophically effective. Avoid squandering energy trying to prove itself. It is aware. We were led to believe that power came from without. Dominance, noise, and sheer numbers constituted that power. True intelligence, however, understands better. A person who has complete control over their own ideas is the most powerful being in the world. Nothing outside of you can harm you once you master your inner world, who you are. None of these things, betrayal, loss, loneliness, or failure. Intelligence does not run in families. Earned it, crafted in the stillness, supported by the unease, honed by the anguish, and sealed by the resolution to not let your emotions control you. Take a look around. People are responding. It's triggered everyone to take their minds off of themselves for 5 minutes. Everyone is always on the lookout for the next bright object, the next dopamine rush, or any other distraction. Power of the mind is not about getting away. The key is to keep going. The skill of facing one's own darkness head-on and managing to look startled. The situation changes at that point. That's the place where ordinary men fall and great brains soar. A mentally strong individual accepts reality as it is. Assimilation occurs. A decipherment is accomplished by them. They use internal alchemy to change its shape. You have been releasing your power through your interpretation of your circumstances, even though you believe you are powerless due to them. I can't help it. I'm just like this. This is how I've always been. No, you pick that lens. Every time you say it, you give it back. That belief is implanted by you. Additionally, what? I may uninstall it after you install it. There's power in your mind. Understanding that all of your beliefs are based on stories, and that stories can always be changed. A strong mind is not a good thing. By definition, it is without peer. It is honest with you. Delusions do not envelop existence. It is brutally honest, but it is from that reality that agency is born. Putting on an act won't make you stronger. Being willing to feel everything makes you stronger and maintain their stability. Toxic hardness is not what we have in mind here. Feeling bad about yourself isn't the point here. Here we are discussing transforming it into something valuable, a foundation upon which you can stand, an asset that cannot be taken away from you. According to Jung, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. However, if you're still listening, it means you're not like most people. Instead, you're here to confront, having experienced the consequences of avoiding. This includes mental weakness, overthinking, paralysis, people-pleasing, and unnamed rage. Now, something inside you has been done. The first step toward mental strength is facing your mind head-on, rather than avoiding or blaming it. You work for me now. You'll have to earn my respect every time you wake up early, even when you don't feel like it, every time you shut off a toxic thought before it furs, and every time you act in alignment with my desires. The mind is ancient, and it doesn't trust declarations, but habits. You send a signal to your mind, telling it, I am in charge now. This signal bypasses your trauma, inner critic, and broken voice from childhood, and instead goes to your highest self. Before long, your mind begins to listen, stops fighting you, and begins to serve you like a wild animal that has finally learned who the master is. This is mental power, not control, leadership, influence, or intimidation. Rather, you earn a powerful mind's loyalty through discipline. A mentally powerful person doesn't repress their feelings. They regulate them. They listen without reacting. They pause before responding. They hold space. It's not about being emotionless, but about emotional fluency. It's about knowing the difference between a wound and a weapon. It's about feeling angry, but not becoming it. It's about acknowledging fear, but not obeying it. It's about letting sadness speak, but not letting it steer for their tempest without letting it loose on the world. This is the art of frightening the timid, not by force, but by clarity, silence, presence, accuracy, not perfection, but precision. The world is noisy because it is insecure, but the powerful are silent and sovereign. This is because, well, when your mind is in order, everything else follows. Mental power isn't about knowing everything, but about knowing yourself, your shadows so well that no one can use them against you, knowing your strengths and weaknesses intimately. You become unstoppable when you know your triggers so well that no one can pull them. When you have crystal clear vision, no distraction can entice you. When you become grounded, you are no longer leaking approval or outsourcing your worth. You don't flinch when misunderstood or doubted, and you don't chase after things because you choose not to. Mental power is being alone without feeling lonely and being able to be. Being criticized without collapsing, being uncertain without letting that derail you. And still moving forward is all about presence without performance, stillness without apathy, and conviction without noise. And once you experience it, you'll never want to go back. The secret is in here, and the war is won when you stop attempting to escape your mind and start mastering it. It's not about seeing the future. It's about remembering what the present is trying to tell you. Vision isn't about fantasies, delusions, or fixation with goals. It's about alignment. Clear vision is rare, not because most people aren't capable, but because their minds are clouded with projections that don't belong to them. Expectations passed down from parents, wounds from the past, and so on. A powerful mind doesn't wait for external clarity. It creates it, not through rushing or forcing, but by subtracting every lie that fogs the mirror until it sees itself clearly, undistorted, free from the script that says you need to earn your worth. Excessive ambitions are a legacy of a culture that taught people to chase rather than create. Vision isn't about what's ahead, but rather seeing oneself without distortion. What remains is truth, simple, unambiguous, and impossible to deny. A terrifying vision, because once seen, cannot be unseen. With no room for compromise, mediocrity tastes like poison, and remaining silent is like betraying yourself. With this newfound knowledge, you must take action. The key is clarity, which is not a source of comfort, but rather a confrontation. When you cease to pretend and begin to ask, what am I refusing to admit, rather than what should I do, clarity acts like a scalpel slicing through the fog. The sentence cuts through denial and sets you free. It's not kind or gentle, but it frees you from wasting your life performing or building things for the sake of being seen or applauded. Instead, you focus on cultivating alignment. Most people aren't confused. They're avoiding facing the truth about their relationships, habits, and who they've become as a result of surviving. But clarity comes when you stop running and start living. This is what I must become. Your belief system is not sacred. It's inherited. It's the operating system of people who may never have questioned their own pain. But you were born to update. When you sit still long enough for your soul to speak louder than your fear, when you allow discomfort to teach you instead of distract you, clarity emerges, not as a lightning bolt, but as a steady, unshakable knowing. Just because I believed it yesterday doesn't mean I'm married to it today. A powerful mind doesn't just question others. It questions itself, challenges its assumptions, and interrogates every I can't and I'm not until it finds a root, and then it rewrites it. Belief is not passive, it's creative. What you believe, you build. If you believe you're broken, your decisions will reinforce that fracture. If you believe you're cursed, every relationship will give you evidence of your curse. Belief is the blueprint for your becoming. Don't believe what's familiar. Believe what's useful and freeing. And if old beliefs still haunt you, face them head on and say, thank you for keeping me safe, but I'm building something bigger now. Discipline is self-love in action, not self-punishment or self-deprivation. When you believe in your power, though imperfect, your life will rise to meet that expectation. The highest form of self-respect is discipline, not control. It's what you do when the motivation wanes, when the applause stops, when no one is watching, and the old you whispers, just skip today, but you don't because you made a vow, a sacred, quiet, non-negotiable vow to become someone who follows through. Discipline isn't rigid. It's not about suffering. It's about consistency grounded in clarity. It's the daily decision to live in alignment with your future, not your impulses. It doesn't always feel good, but it's essential. When your mind is strong, discipline becomes an integral part of who you are. You don't work hard for the sake of getting results. You work hard because that's what powerful people do. You train not because it's convenient, but because you are a warrior. Now, discipline is not a prison. It's a crucial action. Mental strength without motion is potential wasted. You can think all the right thoughts, meditate, visualize, journal, but until you take action, the thoughts will remain just that, thoughts. Action is the transformation of belief into reality. It's the choice to quit researching, preparing, and overanalyzing and start doing. The strongest minds aren't the brightest. They're the ones who act through uncertainty, fear, and noise. They comprehend. You don't wait for something to be easy. You act until it becomes natural. You don't gain confidence by sitting on your hands. You build it by repeatedly taking courageous actions. Start before you're ready. Move before you're ready. It's perfect. Speak out, even if your voice is shaky. Write even if your hands are shaky, and stand firm even if your knees buckle. Because old habits stick around longer when you do nothing. But when you do something, you interrupt the pattern, break the spell, and every brave act communicates with your mind. We've changed. You were never meant to remain the same, either mentally, spiritually, or emotionally. Everything in nature changes, including ourselves. But we treat ourselves as though they are static, like our original selves. It's not about denying or limiting your past. It's about integrating it. When you embrace your scars as wisdom scrolls rather than shame shackles, you'll be able to transcend. But here's the thing. Transcendence isn't a peak. It's a process. You'll climb, then fall. Soar, then collapse. Speak your truth, then be afraid of the echo. But every cycle cleans you, refines you, and strips away the impurities. It's not about running away from the world. It's about re-entering it as someone untouchable by its noise. Sovereignty means you're no longer governed by external storms. It means that you're no longer captivated by chaos because you have seen beyond the veil and experienced the power that comes from not being ruled by impulse. You may become transparent to others, but you are always transparent to yourself. And that is where true transcendence resides. In a state of sovereignty, you no longer have to compromise your truth for connection, apologize for your healing, or shrink to fit in. Your energy and time are yours, and your choices are not driven by the need to please, perform, or placate. Sovereignty is calmness amid noise, clarity amid chaos, and the unwavering truth that you are not obligated to obey anyone. Not your family, not your culture, and certainly not that shameful voice within you that mimics the tone of someone who never saw your worth. This is where the climb becomes creation, where power stops being potential and starts being presence. Mastery isn't about dominating others. It's about dominion within. You master your mind by knowing what not to entertain, your energy by knowing where not to place it, and your emotions by letting them be. You understand the cost of betraying yourself is too high, and the reward of standing alone in truth is worth it. You stop chasing peace because you become it. Let them flow through you rather than letting them define you. Life isn't won by controlling every detail. Rather, it is won by resisting the urge to compromise your standards at every turn. In doing so, you transform into the type of person who responds rather than reacts, who leads rather than follows, driven not by ego, but by integrity. For the freedom that comes from living a life without escape is the greatest freedom of all. To master your story, you must rewrite it every day with action, boundaries, and unapologetic clarity. You must cease seeking the world's approval and start making your own decisions. Mental power is not the absence of pain, but rather its transformation. It is the ability to sit with your demons and realize they were just distorted pieces of your divinity waiting to be seen. It is forged in silence and solitude in the long, dark nights when you decide to face yourself instead of hiding from what you've carried. If you want to rise, you will rise anyway. This is the final becoming. Mental power is not found in books, mentors, or inherited. The world will not bestow power upon you. Rather, it will present you with mirrors, those who reflect your wounds, obstacles that reveal your frailties, and storms that put your core to the test. But every time you remain firmly planted, every time you inhale rather than exhale, and every time you choose truth over comfort, you construct it. Brick by brick, you're in a fortress. So instead of praying for an easier path, pray for a stronger mind. Not one that avoids, but one that absorbs, dominates, and pretends. You are not merely a thinker or feeler of power. You are power itself. The truth about mental power is that you do not find it, but rather shape it. And once it is yours, the world is forced to respond because you have become unshakable, remembering who you are, what you have survived, risen from, built in silence, and carried in darkness.